The big judgment day. Not exactly sure how to start this, but I will give it a try. Been together about 20 years, 2 kids and one from her high school years. Both kids are in their teen and the stepdaughter is in early 20s. Everything went according to plan for the first 16 to 17 years. With kids, deadlines, job stress, the typical for any family, we drifted. I will not say drifted apart, at least not yet. Slowly arguments escalated but were diffused, then followed by lent to grow in resentment. I was as guilty as my wife was until I learned to own your actions. I was under the impression she was too. Fast forward about a year and she became more disgruntled about everything. Me, her job, the kids, you name it. I was told by her we were not headed in a positive direction. When I asked her why and what ways to fix this, I heard nothing. Every negative thing within her life was somehow tied to me. Again, the arguments, but this time it did not end well. Since March we have somewhat had a standoff. One corner of the house, other at the other. Interact with the kids and zoom. Kids are aware. Several arguments have carried over in front of them. I try the best I can to not argue in front of them. Often, she seems to want this. As far as sex goes, it is non-existent. I have checked the phones, receipts, money transactions. All are open to each of us. All I can think of is a burner phone. Tried a VAR in the car and after 5 weeks, nothing. Well, she was griping about me to her female friends, but that is normal. What not was normal was things she would complain about, to them, but of course, not to me. I did not appreciate that. Is she cheating? Is she talking to someone? Is she an eye on someone? I don't know. Talking about our problems to others and not to me, in addition to blaming me for everything that does not go her way, has led me to question whether I want to stay in this marriage or not. We went in this together, we should go down together. A friend said she is playing from a different playbook than you. She pretty much goes to work and comes home. She works with a group of toxic females, all divorced and bitter. Those were her words soon after she started working there. As for ownership of my mistakes, I have no problem listing mine and the steps needed to improve. This was from several years ago, and when she too admitted and improved. She has a short fuse with the kids too. I guess they picked up from me to not engage. Me, I just walk away. They can't. They do, but she escalates. She will blow up at them and feel bad about it the next day. It wasn't long before I called her on blowing up at the kids in an effort to get me to step into her anger arena. I have talked with both and they have an understanding of my side, her blow-ups. They also are aware to pay little heed to her blow-ups because she does come around the next day, if even that long. She was upset I did not have her back, but I cannot have one's back when I disagree with their stance. I have a timeline for her to decide if she wants to work on the issues which would be presented or to just say she is done. She is not aware of the timeline. My timeline is up this month. I will file for a divorce. I do not want to, but I will not tolerate the way things are. I am on the fence about a divorce, but I am certain I will not live in a separated household. We have discussed divorce in brutal honesty. Do either of us want it? I don't think so, but neither are happy either. She is not keen on MC. I have a MC session set up a week before my deadline. She will be notified several days before. The kids will be away and she can come or not. That will tell me a lot of how she feels about working on things. On her good days, we do get along. On her bad days, outbursts. I am not okay with that. Her mileage and schedule have not deviated much at all. But the GPS is a sound piece of advice. I refuse to argue with her. That is when she wants me in the anger circle. I will not fall into that. She respects my 180, but when she does a small thing unasked and does not get the desired result she seeks, she angers dumps. She would complain about how drunk I was the night before. Yet I had wine with dinner, played ball with my son outside, drove to rent a movie. Drunk? Hardly. Or saying I begged her for bonding and she shot me down. Funny being I was with several guy friends watching a baseball game night before. If I recall, I did hug and kiss her on the cheek. If you ask me, her nose is growing. It is not menopause. She is still in her late 30s. I have asked her what makes her so upset. I said if it is me, then tell me. I did get replies like she is upset I don't take the trash out before bed, I wait until the morning. Or how I make it a point to inform her to pick up after herself. I pick up after myself, we taught all of the kids to, she should as well. Another one of those actions I feel she may do just to start another trip to the anger circle. I'm not talking about a candy wrapper or a water bottle, more clothes flung everywhere, dishes in the sink. When one cooks, other does dishes, but only when the kids do not, or saying she will straighten something up this coming weekend, and months later, still there. She was really close to her parents up until she became pregnant as a teen. They demonized her. They have put that in the past, but my wife hasn't. I know that still bothers her, but she slowly pulls away from talking about it. It has been at least 7 or 8 years since she really opened up about it. I believe in leaving the door wide open, but it is slowly closing. I can almost feel her trying to reach out, but it is followed by outbursts of anger. Her anger does not bother me at all. I learned how to handle that a few years ago. My overwhelming complaint is when she brings the kids into it. That is the part I find hardest not to engage. She knows this. She was nothing like this until she had been working there for a while. I work with insanely bitter people and renowned cheaters, but I don't comply to their whims and activities. We used to have free nights at least 2 times a month. We both looked forward to them, but the dark cloud came. Our last one consisted of her yelling and cussing in public. Cussing does not bother me, but if you are yelling those out in front of families and kids, I'm sorry, but you appear like someone with a very limited vocabulary. She made a fool of herself but would not own it. I handed her the keys and I took a cab home. When she acts like an entitled 12-year-old, I treat her like one. Then she regresses to a 6-year-old. Recently she burnt out before she owns it. I think she wants things to continue as are. I will not accept that. I do not mind filing for a divorce, it's just the emotions afterwards. I cannot mix up the wife 2005 style and the one 2020 style. They differ drastically. If she has another guy, then she does. I will help her pack only if she signs those papers as she trots off. At first, I saw me divorcing her over her actions and inactions towards me, but it has more shifted to how she mistreats the kids. I don't yell at the kids when I have a crap day, neither should anyone else, including her. Stepdaughter already said she has tried talking to her. She and stepdaughter have problems. When she found out stepdaughter was more in my corner, she flipped her lid. Technically stepdaughter is such, but she calls me dad. I raised her and was there for her. She checks on me more than anyone. If I met you in public with her, I would present her as my daughter. Outside of a few guy friends, she has helped me through this more than any. Main point is I am looking out for my best interest and my children. We all 3, well call it 4, have to hear it. I'm tired of it. I VAR to see if there was someone else and heard what I heard. Didn't plan on it. My friends know she and I are having problems, but not one time did I throw her under the bus. I have no problem in admitting if I am wrong. Does not bother me in any shape or form. What I don't do is throw her under the bus, make up stretched truths to collect guilt stamps. All I do is say we're having issues and never go into detail. I would say communication issues are not connecting, broad statements. She is calling me out as a drunkard. Sorry, but that's quite different. We've almost raised 3 kids. Few years that will be complete. If she is so unhappy and miserable, then she should depart. I am to that point, and if we can't break through barriers soon, I'm gone. I can't count the times I asked her what is wrong, and if it's me, tell me. If I drank 12 beers 4 times a week and left her to tend to the house and kids and be zoned out, I would get it. I do not do that, nothing remotely close. I have friends who do and wonder why their wife is tired of it. Well, I could see why. If my wife did that, I'd damn sure call her out. She is angry, closed off, and is dead set on not talking about it. Something akin to a friend who was depressed for a number of years but refused to talk about it. He remained depressed for a long time. When he finally told his story, things changed. If I make her that miserable and she is fearful of talking about it, then she should get out of this marriage. But my door is always open. If she can't sit down and talk to me, then communication is lost. I told her if we can't talk and work on whatever is our disturbance, we are pretty much toast. I will file this month if nothing changes after MC. I have read things change quickly after the filing. Some get better, some get worse. All I know is I am tired of being in neutral. I never VAR her in the past, never gave me a reason to. Her actions gave me a reason. Had she not given me a reason, I'd have never know about her nose-stretching lies. There are plenty more than just the 2 I mentioned. Stepdaughter used our car, discovered phone in the trunk, 1 number in called section. She called it, he answered hello sweetheart. She hung up. She called it later, VM directly to wife. This is X and I so want to take your call. X, wife's name. If this is the guy I am thinking of, he went to school with us, not baby daddy. He lives far away according to FB. She would not talk on our plan because everything is saved to monitor the kids. So, this is a certain Nia to say the least. I'm done 100% if it's who I think it is. I'm 99% sure it is. It was the guy I thought. He lives about 800 miles away. No way possible they ever met. And he is married. I will inform the OMW. That is a 100% definite. He and I played baseball and football together. I even remember when he and my wife dated. We partied together and hung out several times. We were not close though. Further investigating yielded a friend on his FB list. My wife's first name and maiden name. Stepdaughter was a large help. I honestly think she is more po than I am. SD took a while but she guessed her mom's password. The conversations went just what you would think. I wish I had married you. Funny she dumped him. Our children would have been so beautiful. OP has not satisfied me in bed in years, since she was graphic. So will I always had to place a hand towel beside me while giving her X. If I didn't, I'd look like a kid who fell off his bike on the way to school. I told OP why I was so unhappy, which is BS. I would love to move up with the kids. The winters there I hear are breathtaking. Well, got some news for you, sweetheart. You aren't taking the kids any damn was. I could go on. Yes, he says he wants to leave his wife. There is no way anything physical has went on. Nothing mentioned on either end. My point is this, had they had the chance, I am certain they would have. I do plan to tell her parents. That will be interesting. They demonized her for getting pregnant as a teen. You had dreams, aspirations, goals. You're throwing your life away. As I said, she never really got over that. Her mom will take her to the mat. I don't want to be around when SD confronts her. Not sure when to tell the kids, but I doubt it will be a shock. We spoke on divorce before. We were, then, in agreement to an exact 50-50 custody. One child at each place. The residences would be less than 4 miles apart, every other daytimes, and 3 together. It can work. SD already said she is on board if needed to transport. The money part will be fuzzy, always is. I make more than her, but not by a large amount. But I do side deals which pushes me up to a lot more cash income. I feel like crap, I won't lie. I'm disappointed but not surprised. Somewhat like watching Star Wars for the 100th time but still wondering a bit, what if Vader beats Luke this time? I still love her and will for a long time. In a way I always will. But this is a deal breaker for me. I may post later to get things out. Thank everyone for their replies. 90% of the responses came exactly the way my friend told me. They line up with what he and others have said too. A person asked me what I meant by playing from a different playbook. The way it was explained to me was she has a certain expectation of how she expects me to react. She may want me to react in a way that initiates her collecting anger stamps. When I refuse to play the part she wishes me to, she throws anger dumps and sits in the anger circle. Sorry, but I don't play those types of hide-and-seek BS. There is much truth to how he explained it. As for confronting her, I'm looking forward to it but dreading it at the same time. I've read on this forum for about a year. Confrontations rarely ever go well. I am keeping my MC appointment and express desire she attend. Either way I will go. If she goes, I will confront her then. If not, I will wait until the family is together, then confront. I will leave for several days and stay at one of my friend's place. Whichever one has the higher proof liquor. Allow me to rephrase, she will be exposed. There will not be any begging me back. Not no but hell no. Daughter suggested a get-together with the family and WW parents and siblings. 2 birthdays are close. Nail her to the wall in front of everybody. My stepdaughter's suggestion is better but way too brutal. Something about those daddy's girls. If I can possibly reiterate, I was scheduled to file for divorce before this IA was uncovered. I was already done. I guess now I am done. Putting a OM before her family, dealbreaker. Spending more time chatting to him than her kids, goddamn dealbreaker. Unless God takes me before the scheduled filing, it is written. It will be done. This marriage is DOA and has a DNR. Update, observe, stand still, I have patience. I have her work number. We will be chatting soon. She will be emailed all the love chatter. She will have my work number and daughter's number. The kids know something is up. That pisses me off. They have to live through this. I would pay for her a plane ticket up there to be with him if she signed the papers, relinquished all rights, promised to stay up in the Windy City. She knows something is up but does not know what. I am going to assume they made contact while she was at work. I do know she has an inside PO box at the post office. Thanks, son. She has had it at least since the holidays, per son. I am short with her but courteous, similar to a co-worker. It's not fun. Yes, I would love to forget everything and go back to our days of glory, but that won't happen. Forget about the broken trust with the IA for a minute. The yelling and screaming at the kids over her bad day, or the fact she missed OM's call, or she does not get what she wants. I have zero sympathy. Thankfully she has turned into such a B. I can easily decipher the pre-her to the present her. Easiest decision to make. Still hurts, but still hurts knowing and seeing what I have. Sad ending which could have been avoided. OMW was contacted. We will talk this afternoon. Exposing her to family has been moved up. She was a piece of work to say the least. I have 2 great kids, a great stepdaughter. SD is early 20s, maybe she has cute friends. WW cooked pancakes this morning. I drew a nasty picture on a couple with my toothpick. I heard what the hell. I looked, smiled, left the room. One of my friends suggested how to expose her to the family. I really like it. SD loves it. Gave her goosebumps. Exposure was sped up because I cannot trust OMW to keep it hush-hush. The perfect scenario is for her to bust him right when I bust her. With no burner phone, what they going to do? Find a pay phone. After speaking to the OMW, exposure was postponed for a couple days. She wanted to do some snooping of her own. Nice to know OM has dirty pics of her. One was with their fav candy back in the day, laying in her hooch with inscription "Come and get it." Since WW doesn't know I know her password, they're still at it. Since I do not see any odd withdrawals, my guess is her PO box is where she either gets a credit card or debit card statement sent to. OMW is tracking him to see where his PO box is. She requested a coordinated exposure once she learned what I knew. My data file is next week and MC today. I still plan to go, mainly to just get stuff off my chest. WW thinks she lost the phone. They did bring up maybe someone found out. That was dismissed when they couldn't stay away from puppy love talking. OMW did mention a revenge affair but was in no way serious. She said they had problems the last 4 to 5 years. Said it would get better but not for a long period, then go back to way it was. I told her that sounded very familiar. Wise not to tell her your gut and let it be. She will find out someday. Or maybe your EW can settle for being plan B. Telling the kids is going to be tough. They already know something is up and have for a while. By the actions I have chosen, I am teaching my son to have boundaries with everyone and to not accept being mistreated. If I rug swept everything, I would be in a very bad place right now. And SD may not have even paid any attention to the phone. What would that teach my son? Or my 2 daughters? Seek out a man who sticks his head in the sand. I couldn't live with myself. WW has no clue what I know. I hope OMW can do a good poker face. Poker face if what my friends told me. One sent a video of Cartman singing Poker Face. Well, you can laugh or cry. Can't help but think of all the good times we had. Of course, the bad times come right behind. I did tell Dad about everything. He knew things were not good and supports me in whatever I chose. I have yet to tell Mom. Knowing Mom, she would drive right over and cuss her out. I'm sure there is a time and place for that, just not right now. The double exposure has very short window. Germany had a clear advantage up until the spring of '42. They were stretched too far. North Africa, the winter in Russia, losing the Mediterranean. I post on an alt history forum. One question which gets a lot of attention is what if Germany and Russia remained close? The war would have turned out very different. OMW has until the weekend. She will have to answer to the kids. That is her burden to bear. One will be a freshman, other a junior. They will have questions. Oldest daughter is devastated. She has kept quiet about everything. I wasn't sure if she could have done that. She never ceases to amaze me. So glad I raised her well. In the back of my mind, I think she may have talked to the younger two. I will talk with each of them right after exposure. If they wish to come stays with me, that is their choice. But she is still their mother. I saw WW at her best and by shot she was awesome. But I have also seen her at her worst. So have the kids. If WW does anything, it's made it right with them. I don't want it to be 10 years down the road and one is getting married and she shows up and she is shunned. A fallout is between her and I. Went to my MC Friday. Explained why I had already decided to DMC, asked why, and we went into detail about WW. She focused a lot on her childhood and strife with parents and siblings. Did you offer assistance with child rearing, and were you there when she was down? The tone she used was she expected me to say, oh hell no. I left it all on her. For some reason when AM goes under, it's the guy's fault. I explained how I did my part with the kids and things around the house, and the fact she was not ignored nor neglected. Then I get this look of, then why has she done these things? I ended the MC by telling her I would give WW her hash. Exposure took place yesterday evening. Her parents were in attendance, as were her siblings. My parents were there, SD, the 2 kids, but they were gone when it happened. In sync, SD and OMW Skype and let the 2 view each other. I then informed them they were busted. Their correspondences were placed on a PowerPoint. Each guest was given a copy. The master copy with everything was emailed to everyone in attendance. Everyone was stunned at first. WW cried, then berated me for embarrassing her. Then she wanted to talk. I told her I have nothing to say and am filing for D. I asked father-in-law and dad to keep her away from me while I pack. I spoke to each child before I left and will meet both of them today. I know I left a lot out. I'm at a friend's house getting hammered quite well. I'm sad the exposure is over and glad at the same time. The kids all called and checked on me. SD came by, gave a hug saying you will get through this. She said Mom is mad at her. My guess is they may have had it out, but she did not say anything if they did. All she said was when Mom chastised her, she told her to kiss her ass. I'm numb, hurt, disappointed, relieved, and a few other things. My host said I was in momentary lapses of reason. That I will learn to fly again. Weird, but he is a weird character in his own right. Roller coaster hit reset. I now go back to 19 while everything else stays where it is. Approaching 40 and a broken family, how wonderful. I drew up what I thought would be a fair division of assets. No alimony should be given. I will present a 0 child support plan. If it is non-contested, the 2 parties can set their own plan in place. Anything child-based will be 50-50. Neither wants to sell the house. We spoke on this months ago. Plus, this is where the kids grew up. That will be a sticking point. I have yet to say anything to her. I honestly don't care to even see her. I will be returning to the house in a couple days. She can move out or take the spare bedroom. My bottom ain't. The kids got a hold of the messages. No real shock. To be honest, I think not being there several days is a good thing. Daughter thinks Mom is cow-tipping loony and son just looks at her with disgust. OMW did find a pair of used panties hidden. They were not hers. Their kids are young, so her road will be much harder. I'm not going to sit here and claim I was a saint throughout our nearly 20 years together. But I never gave up, never looked elsewhere for my wants to be fulfilled, or never dismissed her thoughts. Like the one poster early on in my thread, claiming I refused to listen to her and sat on my ass and did nothing. That is light years from the truth. Had I done that and discovered her EA, I could relate to why she did what she did. Still doesn't make it right. If you are unhappy and at the end of your rope, get a damn D-stop tree swinging. But had that happened, I would consider R, but it didn't. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. While I was talking to B, he recalled his D. He asked her once what she wanted. She replied, I have no idea what I want. B said TBH, that was the largest truth she told me. Maybe WW lost something along the way and doesn't know how to recover it. Maybe it is general happiness. She has to make herself happy. That is not in my job description. I went by my parents' place. They both understand and agree. Mom said mother-in-law called her. Mill was apologetic. Of course, Mom said to just wait, that'll change. I agree completely. But when some people don't get what they want, they throw a tantrum, act like a child, then wonder why they get treated like a child. Had I stayed that night after everyone left, could you imagine the waterworks? Think I'd get any sleep? I would have locked the bedroom door and told her to sleep elsewhere. Who would be left to take it out on? The kids. They've put up with enough, well beyond enough. With me gone, she can sit in the marital bed and cry, and text her sugar pants all she wants. Let him save her ass now. She can go to her parents. I'm guessing they will send her back saying you screwed everything up, go fix it. But that will be short-lived. I'm focused on the end game. Get over this hump and see what life has to throw at you. I want the kids to decide where they want to stay and for how long, not a fat-ass drunk in a black robe who doesn't know a damn thing about them. I guess I'm a bit pissed. Turn anger and rage into positives. Update. Returned home Thursday. Well, it's not a home anymore but was late. WW was asleep, kids were up. Summer break and they're awake past midnight. Did the room to room. Both said mom has been a mess but has stopped yelling at them. Said she talked to both and apologized. Apparently, SD and WW must have had it out. At that time, I was unknowing. My gut told me not the right time to say anything. She was asleep. I left her panties over her face, grabbed a few things and left. Returned early next morning. Secured everything I needed in the bedroom. Anything I did not use, know what was taken to guest bedroom. Have friend on standby if I need lock put on door. The text, yes there were plenty. They went from condemning me to screaming just to hear herself scream to where are you to waterworks apologies. In other words, the typical. When she arrived home, I made sure I was outside. Went ahead and made the kids alt lunch. I guess you hate me now was her first words. We talked for a few hours. The kids must have known because they never once came out and I'm sure they were listening in. WW gave full confession. Gave exact timeline of how it went. She told me much more than I knew so she must have thought I knew everything. Everything admitted fit the timeline. The only thing I was not aware of was a couple of dirty video chats. When are you going to ask me why my reply was I shouldn't have to? Unhappy about living in the rat race, unhappy she hasn't achieved enough, unhappy with her parents, unhappy she hasn't given the kids everything she wanted to, unhappy she wasn't a better wife to me. What ways did you try to make yourself not sad? WW had no true response. The conversations were going cordial up to then. I know you are very upset with me, what can I do to fix this? That's when it took a turn. WW is mad I will not forgive her. Mad I will not allow her to fix things. B said this was a likely outcome. B and J gave me 5 outcomes. She went the number 2 way. I detailed how I felt. The marriage is over. It cannot be fixed. You gave your heart to another man. I'm done. We need to start dividing the assets. 50-50 on custody on paper but kids can stay wherever they choose. No child support. Health ins. Get your own. I carry the kids. I expect 50% from you this month. All expenses will be 50-50 on the kids with receipts. No lawyers are needed. You are free to date anyone you choose. Wait, you already have. I'm not leaving the house. You cheated, you leave. If you stay in guest room. At later date we must discuss division of home. Use the kids as leverage one time and the gloves are off. And dinner's in the oven. Where are you going? Unanswered. Kids went to SD last night. Hell, I almost did too. WW is giving me my space. No screaming or yelling, no blame shifts, retelling history, no anger stamp collecting, no victim circling. Pretty much what the kids and me had wanted. Look what it took to get it. No exposure, nothing would have changed. As my son said, now she's playing good mom. War isn't over but I like where I am standing. Prepared for next outburst. Family drops from 4 others to 3. More time for the 3. According to OMW Sugar Pants through WW to the Sharks. I am guessing WW wants everything to be in safe mode so she can regroup. She wants to rug sweep. I'm just waiting for the it wasn't as if we really had sex excuse. That is why my belief that if they had the chance, they would have solidified me. The constant whining and arguing are absent, for now. She did offer to buy me out on the house. Well, not her, more her parents. The offer was roughly $10,000 more than I had penciled in for half. Maybe this can fast-track this divorce. I can't see her moving back with her parents, even on a temp basis. I could her siblings, but that would be short-lived. They're all overachievers who love nothing more than pointing out other people's flaws. They would critique her mercilessly. No, I never gave a damn for any of them. But as a husband, you have your wife's back regardless. I see her agreeing to most of the terms at first. Then it may get rough. WW took the guest room. She left the door open. Would sit there and cry, maybe seeking out sympathy. The kids are talking to her some, as in getting their feet wet. I explained to them mom has a number of issues and even though she took them out on them, she was anger tossing. She isn't nowhere near as upset with you two than you think. Just give her time. Of course, I get do you hate mom now? Fair question for a teen. I will always love your mother. I had to want to create you too. I will love the person she was. And if mom is trying, give her a chance. If she goes off on you unwarranted, let me know. Bad outcome in any direction. She offered bonding the first night back. I was tempted but knew best not to. It's funny I see so much of her in SD. SD is around the age she was when we got him. I'm really curious to hear how SD and WW went at it. But that is for SD to tell. WW could, but I can't really believe a damn word she says anymore. When she tries to use the kids as leverage, she will not like my actions. She had the nerve to tell me she was ovulating and wanted a response. I asked her when dinner was ready. If my insurance covered it, I would get a bottle of Viagra and walk around with a constant Woody. Isn't worth $100 for 5 damn pills. Got friend request from old ex-GF asking how I was doing. News travels in a small town, I guess. I didn't accept it but did respond. It's nice to know some people want to look out for you. I'm done. She will throw digs at me, that is certain. What do you expect me to do, sit by idly? We will be under the same roof for I am guessing 90 days. I again do not care what she does. I am focusing on me, my health, my kids. In my book, she is a hoe, go lay with whomever. She is not part of my future. All quiet on the Western Front, I guess. SD doesn't come by anymore but calls. The kids are into school starting back but communication with their mom is still splotchy. Better but still not good. The clock on the D is counting. The kids are acting like they are cool with the D, they're not good actors. WW cooked on of my favs but didn't make any overtures. WW is depressed, I'm depressed, all the kids are depressed. If I accepted her back it pretty much would give a green light to do it again. She has issues which do not involve me or any of the kids. Thank goodness the kids are older. I don't know how old yours are but only seeing them 50% would gnash at my soul. I miss the complete family too but it hasn't been such in a good while. Now the D just makes it official. SD doesn't come by because she is avoiding her mom. I know they have had words a few times. She hasn't told me exactly what was said but knows I am always there for her. Between SD and I we are still openly communicating. I try to get interaction with the two youngest when WW isn't around. Just as a starting point that I love them, always will, and always look out for their best interests. I try to do group and individual with them the best I can. The kids pretty much know everything. Sometimes they're hesitant to say things around WW or the both of us. That pisses me off. But this present situation is only temporary. I'm putting up a front for the kids. They do know I'm down, that everything is over, but I have made it clear there is no going back with her. As long as they know that up front, they know what to expect. This is a bad situation but it was no fault of mine nor any of the kids. Kids today start doing their own thing a lot earlier than when I was a teenager. I've always been close with all three. The time to teach them goes by like a flash. Then you just hope and pray you instill the necessary tools for them to succeed. SD visited the house very often. Most I think she's not been by is 3 days. I can see the younger two doing the same. Kids don't leave home anymore at 18. That term is very outdated. Might have been a true statement back in the 1980s and earlier. So many places require at least a 2 or 4 year degree now. Add in being strapped with student loan debt which is higher than a small starter home cost in the damn 1980 and they're at home several more years. Oh, and people now don't have to grow up until they are 30. Thank God I grew up in an earlier time. Update. Nothing has changed unless you count WW still being nice but not the full court press. WW moved out and the two kids returned. SD is still playing go-between. WW and SD are talking and that is stretching it. Nothing much more to say. I've been scoping gals recently. No doubt I've lost my touch but shouldn't take long to be back in the game. Clock is ticking. Just over a month to go. Freedom is in my grasp. A few months later, I'm still alive. I haven't posted in a while for several reasons. Course one was I wanted to mourn everything in my own way. Raising two kids takes away much time. The divorce was final. It was final during the holidays. BTW, the holidays this year sucked squirrel Pete's. It wasn't bad as it sounds but it wasn't like those I recall in daydreams. I had the kids Thanksgiving until midday, XW rest of day. They returned home that night. I spent Christmas Eve with them. Was special in a way. Was told I would feel that. It was great having all three kids on each holiday. XW came to get the younger two Christmas Day. They returned that night. The younger kids were given the choice of returning home or staying overnight. Each time they wanted to come home. I received the house in the divorce but not without buying out her share. I got a deal in the buyout. XW can come to the house only if she is invited over by the kids. Her stay would also be limited. We never agreed fully on who got what but I did not want that to drag the divorce out any further. Several things she claimed should be hers, she has returned to me. XW has been nothing but cordial and flexible. She had 2 major meltdowns right before and after the divorce. I know it was not the nicest thing to do but I pulled the curtains back and laughed at her in the yard. Fact remains she was so unhappy, wanted a fix, hoped it could be an exit affair, never thought she would be caught. Made thy bed, lie in it. The kids are slowly getting back to talking terms with her. SD still refuses to speak to her. They had a knockdown drag-out catfight not long before Christmas. XW and me talk more than they do, but that's their relationship. SD and I are still in daily contact. I got the 3rd degree when she learned I had a date. Speaking of dating, weird as hell. Sometime later, school year is about to end and custody will be a hassle. XW has been really good about spending time with the kids. I know it sounds weird, but I guess I'm proud of her. She's finally started talking to SD. Maybe one day things will return to some form of normalcy. Dating, at least at my age, really sucks. Broken people everywhere you look. Still bitter, pissed off, angry. A complete downer to even be around. Of course, I saw a really beautiful gal leaving a building downtown and I almost approached her. 20 years ago, I would have. Then I remembered my age. About women. I know there are good ones out there. They're just harder to find now. Patience is a must. But I'm not looking for a forever person, just a casual date. Getting FWB is easy. That has been my past objective. I went too long with little or none. Now that my beak is wet, I guess I am wanting to start to date casual. I damn sure don't want anything heavy for a while. My comment: what is it about dating that sucks? Is it that you're having a time finding a woman interested in casually dating you? Are they all more interested in something serious? I'm not sure why you would need to find a good woman for a casual dating relationship.